Call to order this District of Clearwater regular council meeting for Tuesday, April 2nd at 2 p.m. I would like to begin by acknowledging that we are fortunate to be gathering together on the unceded territory of the Simpcw people who have been caretakers of this land since time immemorial. On the agenda, there is a shift of item 20.2, which is the grant and aid request from the Chamber of Commerce. It will be moved to item 16.1. 0.5. So at the end of the regular grant and aid stuff on page three, it'll be item 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Any other late items to add to the agenda? Councillor Sim.
For the closed agenda, so section 90, I would do it under item K, please.
Okay. 91K. For reference, what is item K?
So that is negotiations and related discussions respecting proposed provision of a municipal service.
Okay, thank you. Okay. So with those additions, can I get a mover and a second for the agenda?
Moved.
Moved by Councillor McKenzie, seconded by Councillor Sim. All those in favor? And moving on to, that's the adoption agenda. Okay. We have delegation, poetry reading. Come on down. Well, you're already down, so fire away. Introduce yourself and fire away.
My name is Alec McGilvery. All right, there we go. My name is Alec McGilvery. I'm here for the Writers Circle, which is a program run by the seniors group in Wellsgrey. It's International Poetry Month, so for the last few years we've encouraged people to come and read poems at the beginning of council. There will be one of our members here in the second meeting in April to read one of her poems. Anyways, this one was inspired by driving past a protest that was more about pointing out certain people and pushing them aside rather than gaining anything politically. It's called Venn diagrams. Venn diagrams categorize, separate green apples from red, from those both green and red. Fine for apples, not so good for life. Yet we still draw circles to enclose and exclude, between what lives and what doesn't, between what moves and what is planted, we who are conscious and those who are not, between those who look different, talk different, think different, any who don't fit in our neat circles. With each line we draw, a slice of the world falls away. Our space in the center shrinks and shrinks until we balance on the single point of ourselves, lonely, angry, afraid. Yet, life is not a Venn diagram. We share elements with the mountains, DNA with the trees, aspirations with the people we fear. We are all dust, held together by forces we can't comprehend. No lines separate us but the ones we draw. Step away from the singular and walk into life. We are dust, dust that can love, and that is the force that binds the universe into being.
Really like that.
Thank you.
Thank you. You're doing one today.
Pardon?
You're doing one today. I think one of the last times you were here, you did more than one. So, if that's that.
One is enough. That's what I brought.
Thank you. Thank you.
I have
People just to read the one because it can sort of take over the time, and I know you guys.
Yeah. No.
The time is precious.
Yeah, no, and thank you for that one. I really like that one. Councillor Sim, go ahead.
I just did have a question because you're so right and on so much of that. And I wondered, as you read it, wrote it, thought about it, all of that, how do we listen with disagreement and acceptance?
Well, in my mind is that we don't listen with a disagreement, we listen.
Okay.
Because what people are doing by saying whatever they are saying, whether we agree with it or not, they are revealing who they are. So when we listen, we are listening to who they are. And then we can interact with them as who they are, not who we expect them to be. So that's sort of that's my take on it.
It was lovely, and especially the analogy of how that works with nature. So thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you for the opportunity. It's
Thank
been
you.
a pleasure and an honor.
thank you. Have a good day.
Thanks.
Moving on to item 8.1, minutes of the regular council meeting held March 12th, 2024. Any errors or omissions? Hearing none, can I get a mover and a seconder? Moved by Councillor Fizzle, seconded by Councillor Bratton. All those in favor, and that passes. Nothing under 9, 10, 11, or 12. Mayor's report is on table. I'll go through it just really quickly. I didn't do one for the last meeting, but anyways, on Thursday, March 14th, I attended a Zoom meeting with Ian Meyer and Jeffrey Dunn of the BC Wildfire Service to discuss the possibility of wildfire initial attack crews returning to Clearwater. You've all been given council's been given a copy of that. Friday the 15th and Tuesday the 19th, office hours, had a couple of citizen meetings and business meetings. I also met with Heidi Schilling to discuss a joint presentation at a health forum in late April in Vancouver. More on that later. Thursday the 21st was the hospital district meeting, very heated meeting, a lot of discussion and pushback against what was initially could have been a 29% tax increase on the hospital side of things, but we agreed to 5% increase to cover some of the overruns on and some of the stuff to do with the cancer center. But it's a bad habit of Interior Health to continue coming to us after they spent the money and had the cost overruns to ask us for more money. Also that day was the regular board meeting where we passed the 5-year financial plan for the TNRD. We had a special council meeting on Friday the 22nd, also did some office hours that day. Monday the 25th, I took the Newfoundland boys and the Kamloops rugby club boys, a couple of whom are Clearwater kids, and I think a couple Barrier kids, for a bus ride, a crazy bus ride up to Helmuth Falls and back. Yeah, I was brave. I got fed though, so it was good. And basically talked about the park and showed them a few things, and yeah, perfect weather. It was a very warm day. I think it was almost 20 degrees, and they had a blast. They thought it was absolutely spectacular. Even the local kids thought it was pretty neat, and they went rambling off into the woods by themselves, just wherever, and had to yell at them and call them back, and pretty rambunctious bunch, but nobody fell off a cliff. Knock on wood, it came pretty close a couple of times. Yeah, on the 26th, Mayor Stamer, myself, and Chief Lampro had our second BC Ambulance, BC EHS Zoom call to talk about service changes in North Thompson. Clearwater plans are going to go forward with changes to shifting, but it might slow down a little bit. Barrier is going to get a bit of a reprieve because their medical clinic is still down and probably will be for several more months, so they get an 11-month extension with an extra ambulance in town until they have their clinic up and running theoretically. And there's some talk about need for some of our crews to attend Blue River and shore up that station as well. Wednesday, 27th, had a chat with the host of the Beat Quality BC Forum and Heidi Schilling on a Zoom to talk about our presentation. We had to break it to the lady who had recommended that we give a talk that the success of Clearwater and keeping the hospital open is, as I put it, medical tape and tenacity by Heidi and others, and that it could fall apart at any particular moment, but we'll still be presenting there anyways to tell the experiences, or some of the experiences of people in this room and the hospital. Attended a Mayors and Chairs team meeting with hosted by Minister Ann Kang, with Bowen Ma, Minister of Emergency Management, Bruce Ralston, Minister of Forests, and a whole schwack of experts from BC Wildfire and agriculture, weather, emergency management, talking about just how bad the drought situation is in British Columbia. North Thompson region is about 76% of normal snowpack. I don't think there's a place in BC that's much over annual snowpack, and one of the worst places in the whole region, or all of BC, is the Skagit Valley at 30% of seasonal snowpack. And there's a lot of information there, but one that I had to ask for is explanation on is that 76% after a year where we're already in drought, it's a multiplier. It's actually, you're already starting off at a deficit, so this year could be substantially worse than last year because it's not 25% worse than average. Could be substantially worse than that. So I'm expecting a lot of pressure coming down from the province in the next few months on water restrictions, wildfire bans. I asked whether or not we were going to class 2 or 3 burn ban here. We're not anywhere near as dry as the Caribou, so they're holding off. But I would expect it to happen months, probably a month before normal. I bet you we're there. Well, actually, I guess we're a month now, so a few weeks before normal, anyways. And full campfire ban is probably much easier earlier than normal, unless we get some rain. Agenda setting last Thursday plus CBC on that call, and thanks to the fire department for the Chad Park groundbreaking. I'm glad to see so many people out there. That was really good. And as mentioned before the meeting, meeting with BCRCMP management tomorrow to discuss the status of highway patrol in the North Thompson Valley. And that's 2 managers, provincial managers coming up from the coast, the regional manager for Central Interior, and the Kamloops branch manager. So they're sending the heavy hitters, so it should be an interesting conversation. Moving on, council reports. Councillor Bratton.
Oops. Good afternoon. On Wednesday, March 27th, we went to the Food Security Hub meeting, and that was pretty interesting. Joanna did a really good job of bringing together all different aspects and avenues, and something that's very interesting at the CD Saturday on April 6th, this weekend, I do believe. They'll have the biochar kilns there, and you can bring waste that is up to 3 inches, like branches, sorry, not waste, branches that are up to 3 inches in diameter. They can burn it and you take it home and add it to your garden. Very cool. I'm really interested in seeing how this whole system works. We met some very interesting people. One fellow from Barrier, Fred, and I lost it. Fortune, yeah. Oh, yeah. I think he's been there for 1,000 years. Anyways, super cool guy, has a lot of interesting information on composting, and if you need any other information, he's a good guy to check in with. And I'm sure he's on every committee available. He had a lot of different things that he was a part of, so that was very interesting. So yeah, CD Saturday is on April 6th, 10 a.m. at DLCC. So if you want to come and trade your seeds and pick up some plants, that would be good. Attended the Easter egg hunt. I have never done that with the Fire Hall Easter egg hunt. We have a large family, so we quite often do our own, and that was a lot of fun. You do a very good job, so kudos to the crew that do that, and all the people that donate to that. That's lovely. They split it up this year. Sorry if I'm taking your thunder. Are you talking about it? Okay. They split it up and used Chad's Park for one age group, used inside the fire hall and the fire trucks, and those babies just loved that. That was super cute. And then the older kids were in the bush, and they just go to town like it. And it, poof, done. They have hot dogs. It was like so much fun. Anyways, and then later on that afternoon, attended the dedication for Chad Shapansky at the park, and they'll be getting their couple other play apparatuses put in, which is very nice to see, and then the park will be utilized and put to its full potential, so that'll be nice. There'll be more said later, but Pitchin will be close to Earth Day, which is April 22nd, but Pitchin is April 20th, and we'll talk more about that later. May Day Parade, May 18th, don't forget, get your registrations in to me. And something I just kind of fell onto, I would really like if YCS could come in and possibly do a presentation on their available supports that they have to our community for young families and individual families that might need a financial, food, or just support in being in Clearwater. So there's a need, and I think it's going to become a higher need. And I actually honestly don't know everything that they have. They have a baby lending cupboard, and they have, yeah, oh. I'm sure there's people that would love to. If you need supplies for your babies, they have a lending cupboard that you can come and access. But I would like to know the full gamut of everything that they do supply for our town. And I think that's everything.
Thank you. Yeah, I think that's a great idea that we invite YCS to give us a scope service presentation or something along those lines. But anyways, moving on to Councillor Herring. Councillor Frizzles first. Gives you time to warm up there.
Thank you. I also attended the Food Hub meeting. It's a really energetic group, and they've got lots of ideas, and they really want to do things. And I agree, Fred Forche was amazing. My mouth dropped at all the things that he's involved in, and the things he's creating himself, his own techniques on gardening and composting and all that. He just has different ways of doing things, and it was really interesting. I'd love to go to some of his workshops that he holds. So I'm looking forward to that group continuing on. Joanna's done a great job on getting things happening. So I also attended the playground groundbreaking. It was nice to see everybody out there to support that. It'll be nice to see the equipment out there. The bridges are both in at the Triple Decker Falls Trail, and I have pictures. Could you please pass them around to prove that there's actually bridges there? It's great. The project's almost complete. There's still some things that have to be done, but it's close, right, Roger? Completed by Friday. So that's great news. I'm very excited to see that. So I'm moving on to just a few other things as my continuing topic of Alzheimer's. We're going to be having a dementia workshop April 25th here at the building for understanding behavior changes. It explores various changes in behaviors caused by dementia and learning practical strategies for responding in supportive ways, because that's one of the hardest things to do is as your partner declines and how to respond to them, realizing that they're not functioning the way they have throughout your life. So that's on April 25th from 1 to 4 here. And next Tuesday, a week from now, I talked to you before about My Voice. There's going to be the community paramedics, the community or the home support from the hospital, and the hospice coming to the Seniors Learn and Lunch next week to discuss why you should have it, and hospice will be showing you how to fill out the forms. So that's next Tuesday, at 11 o'clock, if anybody wants to try and get their people that they need to get out there and learn how to do advanced care planning. That's my report. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, that last one's really important. Mm-hmm. They're all important, but anyways, Councillor.
Can I've got two questions for you, Councillor Frizzle. One is, will there be some sort of news release about the trail and the bridges? Because I think that everybody's been waiting. That's one of the hot questions in town. Probably second only to is the Eco Depot open today. So, well, we've been waiting.
It's the big hot one, yeah.
Do you know anybody?
We haven't done that yet because we're not quite there yet.
We're not quite there yet.
Yeah.
But
not quite there yet.
Okay, but when will be coming when it's open and ready?
When I'm quite sure when Mr. Mayor is 100% certain that the last nail on the last stair tread has gone in place, that we can put that out as a notice on Facebook to start, and then maybe we'll do a ribbon cutting.
we will be doing a ribbon cutting for sure. We just need to plan it.
Got big ribbon, got big scissors.
Okay. And my second question is, because I think that particular book, Your Voice, is so important, and although it's also related to the seniors and them filling it out, I am wondering if there's room through either the DOC or another organization that we actually open it up to everybody.
It is not just a seniors thing.
It's not.
It's not.
So we don't necessarily have another venue. The only one I can think of is working with Leanne, because I think it's a super informative program. And I don't mean to cite her out, but if you've got some thoughts about how we can bring it out, a lot of people don't know how to bring up aging with their parents or how to have those conversations, and they are important. And that book is probably one of the best resources to facilitate the conversation.
And
So I just share that if there's a way that you can we can all start thinking about how do we bring that out.
you could each take one of these books. I've ordered many. I have many, so I will. They are available. Yes, and we have to
We
find
could
a way
think about that.
to get it out to people that are younger than
And just to
senior.
have a venue where people can ask questions, because there's a lot of terminology in there that is uncertain, or
Yep.
what it means, or what they think. So it's great work that's being done there. Thank you.
Sorry, for the third and final time, Councillor Herring.
So not much to update in terms of activities. I just wanted to flag, I've seen more and more cyclists out. That time of year has arrived. I wanted to find out if we have any planning done for the bike safety week type stuff this year. I know the trails are open at Candle Creek, the bottom half anyways. And then the other piece is with the sand removal piece in the district. It means that cyclists who ride road bikes end up in the full lane of traffic, which is allowed and legal. So maybe like some reminder about that cyclists have the right of way. I think one of the things I've noticed in town in the last couple of years is that the cyclists themselves know the rules. It's motorists who tend not to. And not exclusive to town residents also, like on the highway, people with wide loads pretty typically drive in the shoulder. So if you're on the highway on a bike, you're taking your life in your hands. So any programming we can do would be awesome. I think I'll follow up with someone to talk to Leanne about that.
Okay, and I just sent a text to the RCMP commander here to ask if the RCMP, which traditionally gets involved in that, is doing anything this year. Okay, yes, Councillor Bratton.
Could we possibly add it to our communications to part, like, make
Yep.
a little blurb, something like that?
Bike Safety Week is a thing. We can probably add that to our web announcements.
I have one more thing. Happy birthday, Shelley.
I thought we were going to sing in like 2 minutes. Councillor McKenzie.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor Black. Well, as you all know, March was a wash for me altogether around here. So finally, at the end of the month, I was able to attend the groundbreaking for Chad's Park. And I can't thank Mike and his crew enough, Chief Smith and his crew enough at the fire hall. Chad was a close friend of mine and a co-worker leading up to his accident. And just you guys keeping his memory going for the last 20 years and to be a part and witness that and see everything, how it's come along over time. Finally coming to fruition, and I look forward to it. So just thank you for carrying that on, you guys. You got a great team up there. And that was the only thing I was able to make all of March. So thanks to this great team around the Horseshoe and all the staff for filling in when I'm all over the place. Thank you.
Yeah, busy times for you, for sure. There was a lot of economic development with all those CN trucks in town, for sure. Councillor Matheson is away sick today. Councillor Sim.
Thank you. First of all, thank you very, very much for these lovely gifts and a very nice card and the nice sentiments. That's really thoughtful of you. That was kind of a big surprise. I thought I could keep that a secret. Yeah, I know. Yeah, well done. Just one of the things that happened before spring break is I was able to go to the Raft River speech competition, which is really a wonderful thing. One of the topics was which is better, living in rural or urban. So it was a 50-50 split, and interesting to hear what people had to say. Your daughter did very, very well in it.
Thank you.
And there was lots of great perspectives. So if there's ever a question about how young minds are asking questions, just come to this next year. It's really, really good. Also, just another acknowledgement for the Easter egg hunt and also the opening. But I think the bigger acknowledgement is just that how the fire department continues to keep members far and wide. There was a number of people who weren't part of this community now, but came in celebration of that to do that, which is great. We also did agenda setting, and then probably the big one was having been to Creston and watching the U18 team win. And why I think it's just so exciting is, one, is it bears really well on a community of our size that we've been able to foster a team that hasn't just won it once, but twice. And a lot of that's done to the exceptional facilities up at the North Thompson Sportsplex, and the support of the community. And a lot of people will say a lot of things about hockey, but one of the things it does is it keeps kids active. And we had a number of volunteers, especially adult volunteers, who made it all possible. And there is nothing greater for a small town than watching your kids give it their all. So I want to thank this community for sponsoring and supporting the North Thompson Sportsplex. We are so lucky, and when you talk to people in Barrier, and they are incredibly envious, and it's worth it, because those kids are walking away with more than just how to play a game. They're walking how to be better citizens and how you give back. So that's a big deal. Speaking of Creston, they're doing some really fun things, and it made me think that each of us, as we're looking for new team members to join the District of Clearwater, would each council member consider, on their own time, at their own leisure, but adopting another similar sized community and learning what other communities are doing. So for example, water conservation is a big thing. Creston is doing trade in a toilet. And they're talking about that. What other ideas are communities doing? And maybe because we're looking at some cost-saving measures by not going to some conferences, we can watch other councils' meetings online. Cumberland, for example, they do a community roundtable where they've got topics that are introduced. Community members can come in, talk to council. It's not decided, it's not going to go towards an agenda, but different ideas. Can we be proactive in that way? So I just thought I would share that and just follow along. Zoom's made that really, really simple. And I think that's about it, so thanks very much.
Thank you, and happy birthday. Do we need to sing? Happy birthday to you. No, I don't think we do. Okay. Thank you for that. And yes, the Adopt a Small Town thing is a really interesting idea, for sure. There's no CAO reports. We do have 16.1 late grant and aid applications. There are several on table. There's a package, and then there's the extra one from Chamber of Commerce that was on table today. So what is the desire of council? Are there any questions? Do you want to read through them? You want to slice and dice, Councillor Frizzle?
I just wanted to make a comment on the first one with the search and rescue. In January, I had the Wells Gray Search and Rescue come in to do a presentation to the seniors. And I tell you, those people are amazing. They do so much of their work. It's all volunteer, and they're all very professional. They get their training, and they know what they're doing, and they're such an asset to this community that I have no problem funding for rope training.
We could break this up, and you could move one if you'd like, which is the
We could do
rescue.
one at a time,
Yeah,
and then everybody get the
for
chance
sure.
to talk.
Councillor Bratton?
I kind of would like to break it up just because there's one that I'm.
Yeah, no, that's fine. So somebody you want to move one, Councillor?
I'll
Frizzle?
move the
Grant to the Wells Gray Search and
grant to the
Rescue
Wells
for
Gray Search and
$950?
Rescue. Yeah.
Okay, do a seconder on
Second
that?
that.
Seconded by Councillor McKenzie. Further discussion on that one? All those in favor? Okay, that one passes. Move on to item 2, direct staff to allocate and dispense funds for the 2024 grant and aid budget for a one-time grant and aid cash contribution to the North Thompson Arts Council in the amount of $1,200 for the Ed Peekakoot workshop. And Ed has been around for a lot of years. He's quite an interesting performer. So, thoughts on this one?
Does
Councillor
anybody see in here, and maybe because the print is fine, is there going to be a donation, or is there a fee, or how is this being offered?
Good question.
Yeah.
When is the actual event at?
It's this month, isn't it? Or is it next month?
My thought is I would be very, very happy to support this because I think a community that has arts and music creates a lively and interesting space. But I do feel that there needs to be, an approach of trying to collect, or if you were going to offer these types of quality programming, that there is a fee attached to it. And now if it's waived because they have their own particular grant and aid for maybe people who want to access it, but it's not there. But otherwise, there might be people that would like to pay a fee to attend something like this.
Yeah, I think with a lot of these things, voluntary donation would be a nice thing to ask to add to some of these things, because in our experience and past events we've run, the voluntary donation jar is quite often, we can't really do that with our system now. Recognizing that out loud, but for past events, it has a good way to fund the next event. So yeah.
And maybe they've got it. I just don't see it in the application, and I think it's an important.
I don't think everybody thinks of anything. I did note that this is June at the seniors, late in the month of June at the seniors Evergreen, the new gallery / seniors room.
I did have discussions with them. I didn't know they were bringing this forward. That they were going to have workshops with the school, or they were wanting to do workshops with the school, the CSS anyways. So I don't know. I don't see that in here, so I don't know if that's part of it or not.
So there's an application here. The workshop is until June. It's not. It's $1,200, so it is a good amount of money. Does somebody want to move it, or do we want to defer till we get more information?
Can we?
Councillor Bratton.
Are we able to defer till we get more information? I see they've got costs in here that they would like they have added in for advertising and other expenses and stuff. And so anyways, if it was a concert,
Yeah, so if-
there's other aspects to.
Yeah, we can table it for now, bring it back at a future meeting, if that's okay with everybody. But Councillor Sim, go ahead.
I'm okay moving the recommendation, again, just to support it, and I don't know if there's a way that, we can just express that we hope that there will also be a donation or a small fee attached to it. In order, because we'd like to see it continue, but we cannot continue to be the grant and aid that is the
thing all the
funder
time.
for it.
Exactly.
The grant and aid is to get it going.
Okay, so,
I'll move the recommendation
If
for
you're
it.
gonna move it, if somebody want to second it, and then we can have discussion.
I'll second it.
Okay, for discussion. So, yeah, we could do that. There are comments that we're making here that could be recorded and sent back to them. What's the plan for this? Can we have some more detail? Is there a donation possibility? Who's it going out to? Those sort of things. And then, what in-kind services could we offer, AKA advertising through district channels, et cetera, which would reduce those advertising costs for them, so. Okay. Any further thoughts or discussion? If not, I'll call the question. All those in favor? And that passes. Opposed? Do you want your opposed noted, or?
No,
Nope.
I don't
Okay.
think.
Okay, thank you.
Chewing.
And, sorry, moving on to item 3, that council direct staff to allocate from the 2024 grant and aid budget for a one-time grant and aid in-kind contribution. This is an in-kind, so I'm assuming that's waiving of fees for the amount of $525 for league rental for the Clearwater slow pitch. Thoughts, comments, questions on this one?
I'm happy to move this recommendation as well, and the reason being is in the past 5 days, I've never heard such great enthusiasm for ball. Lots of different people, like the teams are forming. Have you got a team? And they've done such a good job on the organizing in the past. It is bringing more people. It is a way to invigorate that field. We need that attraction, and I love the fact that it's got an adult component to it. And Clearwater used to be, the place for ball, so I think it's important.
Okay, is there a seconder on that?
Yeah, I'll second that one.
Seconded by Councillor McKenzie. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor? Okay, and that passes. Item 4, council direct staff to allocate funds from the 2024 grant and aid budget for one-time grant and aid in-kind contribution to the Clearwater slow pitch in the amount of $1,003 for the out of hibernation and not ready for hibernation terminates. Okay, comments, discussion?
I'm just going to move this one again for all the same reasons. I'm just big fan of what's going on down there.
I'll second that one.
Seconded by Councillor McKenzie. Okay. Further discussion.
I'm curious if we can actually ask them, because I'm totally in favor of them utilizing the field and everything, but possibly they need to charge their teams more so that they can generate a little bit more revenue. I think that's their challenge, is keeping revenue from year to year. And I think that's what they're looking for, is to offset expenses, which is fine, but if it's every year, I know it says one time, but we did it last year too. Yeah.
And the year
Okay.
before?
Well, I think this is the third year, and I think that our policy for Grant and Aid is a 3-year. So I think that that's
Oh, I
probably
see.
good to note moving back. Just in the history of the way that things are reemerging, is that even though we thought one day that COVID would be over and everything would snap back, it doesn't.
No.
So I think it has taken time, because that first year was was a slow engagement. Second year, they had some good enthusiasm, and I'm thinking that this third year, it's actually now building, so that they don't need to come back. So for me, if we're following our policy, third year, here we are.
Okay. That makes
Okay, but I think that should be noted when we issue this grant, that there's a 3-year cycle. They have to take a year off from coming to grant and
I
aid.
just want to make sure, have I read that Grant and Aid policy, like to that effect, or is it an ongoing? You should probably fact check me.
I do see.
Yeah, and to the point of fees, I mean, I had this discussion twice today on fees for other things.
Yes,
That
yeah.
fees are too low, and the people that are running organizations are going, we need to find a way to up fees and not offend people.
Right.
Because we can't continue to support what we're doing in this town, so.
I do see they have less out-of-town teams, so which means less dollars, but.
We don't necessarily have a term in the grant and aid policy from where I can see. We may have had that in previous years. We don't necessarily have a term.
I thought at one point in time we had done it, and with the intention of organizations being able to ask for 3 years so that they didn't have to continually come back.
That could have been in previous
Yeah, I think
grant and aid policy.
Okay.
Ring a bell.
It's quite a common term, but
It was a way that people didn't have to keep coming, and I know we did that with the kids' art. Remember that great program that was there, and it was just so that they had security to know that they could plan for it.
I believe we approved the summer nights in the park, the concerts, at the previous grant and aid process for 3 years with a decreasing amount over each year.
yes.
Yeah, same with Lively Arts.
Yeah.
Summer stage.
Yes, that's right. That's what the one.
And question for staff is do we get a report or some sort of an event summary
That's right.
on these things so that we understand what the impact was, or was it
From the organizers, not from staff.
exactly? Yeah.
No more
No.
staff work on that.
From the last council meeting where we spoke about grant and aid, initially back in December or November, council had requested that the applicants came back and reported back, and I have been putting that in the letters. So they are expecting that. I'm not sure when we are scheduling that, but so they'll report back.
Yeah, and my other comment is that, and May is always, it's lovely for camping, but it's not always great for camping. And, I think that Clearwater still has a bit of a cloud over itself about high accommodation costs too. So,
Yeah.
so if we were looking at different teams, that there are financial implications.
Yeah.
But anyway, I think they're working hard at trying to attract people. I think
yep.
we're going to be pleasantly surprised.
Okay, let's hope it's an economic success and boom for the community, so. Yes, Councillor Bratton.
I just want to point out one thing, actually, just as I'm rereading the purpose why they're asking for the grant is to recover their costs, but also because things are deteriorating in the beer gardens and they need to replace stuff. I'm not sure what that's all about. Is that our equipment or their equipment?
I'm thinking they're going off for bases and stuff like that, I think, anymore now.
Well, it says beer gardens.
I mean, the longer you
So I'm
wait
thinking
into,
the building. Is it falling apart?
I wouldn't know. And Mr. Mayor, do you,
It just says equipment
Seems
is
to
old
be-
and needs to be replacing.
okay, so.
I just was curious. I
Things
don't know.
usually
Haven't been
deteriorate
in
in
there for a long
the
time.
beer garden the longer the day goes on, but Yeah, I have some concerns about this because, we get these year after year. I would like to see the numbers to start to decline for some of these. And I realize this is in kind, but it doesn't mean our staff isn't being paid to do this work. If you go to the Sportsplex, there's a lot of money is paid by a lot of parents to keep things going for those things. And, for kids that don't generally have an income coming in and parents who are putting a lot out of pocket. So this is primarily for adults. But yeah, it'd be nice if we got closer to a break-even thing than having to consistently rely on in-kind or other types of donations. But yes, it does provide a good economic boon. And if you want to talk about the cost of accommodation, go talk to Courtney out there in ICBC, and she'll tell you about her $500 to $700 US per night hotel rooms in southern Utah on her March trip. Okay, so we had a mover on that. Do we have a seconder on that? Councillor McKenzie.
I did, yep.
Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor? Okay, and that passes. Okay, thank you. And then the last one under grant and aid is the on-table item from the Chamber of Commerce. Anybody want to declare conflict of interest on this one? Okay.
I'd be curious about the conflict of interest, so
If
I'm
you're
not stepping.
if you're making money from doctor nurses or recruitment in any way, you'd be in pecuniary if your income relies on it.
Well, the only reason I say it is because it wouldn't be handled through me. It's a separate entity.
Okay, but the doctors and nurses that are recruited, do they benefit you?
No,
Is your salary dependent on the number of doctors and nurses
Nope.
that are here? Okay, I mean, I can't verify that, but it's.
no,
you're
the
not-
position is called chapter coordinator, and it is to actually work for the physicians that are here in community, and it
Okay.
is not. And in fact, I think one of the reasons why this is an exciting initiative from the Chamber of Commerce is because the division, the Rural and Remote Division of Family Practice does not have a budget
Okay.
for recruitment.
So are your doctors that you work for benefiting from this? Because if they are, you're in conflict. I would think you were in conflict.
Well, I don't want to belabor it, but I do want to be really firm on the conflict of interest.
Yeah, and if this had come in later, we could always just had it quickly vetted by legal, but I mean, it came in the last minute.
To me, the reason that you recruit is because somebody's leaving, and therefore they're not a part of the physicians that I'm serving.
Okay.
So I don't see it. I'm happy doing the count. You've got 4, so you're still in
Yeah.
quorum. I do not feel that it's a conflict because I'm not being asked to do anything with it.
Okay.
However, just to absolve any illusion and to keep it safe, I will step out. Before I do, noting that this was on, I will just share what Venture Kamloops does. I will also share that being down in Creston is that more and more small communities are getting involved in recruitment just because of the dwindling numbers and just the trajectory for it. So I'm glad that the Chamber is doing it, so.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. We'll be quick. Okay. So there is a request here for $1,500 from the Chamber of Commerce to provide welcome baskets for incoming doctors and other professionals that are arriving in the next couple months. Why this is on table is because the turnaround on this, basically all this is going to happen before our next council meeting. So, yes, I think having spoken to Heidi Schilling and Leslie Grew, there is a need for this right now. We are approaching the end of term for several doctors in this town, and their great service is deeply appreciated in their time here, and I hope they stay, but we can't count on that. I mean, I think we're in a constant state of recruitment here. So, does somebody want to move this? Or questions, comments,
Well,
Councilor
I'd
Bratton?
I'll move it, but I also would like to say that I think anything that we can do that is positive, that puts our town in a positive light, I think I am supportive. Anything that keeps people wanting to come here, and if we can show them a little bit of love. I understand that some people don't like money from us going towards health initiatives, but I think this is more in the work spot, and we need to make it in a positive light that they want to be here.
Yep, no, for sure. And previously, when ICBC was turning a profit for a few years, we actually allocated or directed funds from the ICBC profits towards recruitment, professional recruitment and retention. So we have done it in the past. And ironically, back then, not a lot of it got used because we were actually doing fairly well, but now we're in the situation where things are pretty bad. Do I have a question, Councillor Frizzle?
That is my question. Is there, this money right now is allocated to come out of the grant and aid, right?
Correct.
But
'Cause it's
is there other money from recruitment that we've done in the past where we
Yes.
could take it from instead of? Or is that even what we should do?
There's two options.
Yeah.
This came in as a grant and aid, so it would come from the grant and aid budget. We have $31,000 in there. We probably have spent about, including this, would have spent 21. So you have room there.
Okay.
Also, if council so wishes to make a donation to the, you have three options. You can make a donation to the Chamber of Commerce as well to do this work. Or you can actually do this work, not make the donation, and take it from your recruitment budget.
Okay.
So there's three options. And the option we're putting forward is just keeping it in the grant and aid.
Keep it clean.
You have the money, the Chamber of Commerce will do the work on the project.
Go ahead, Councillor Bratton.
Do we have enough money with everything we've said yes to today?
Yes.
Yes, you have about $9,500 left over.
And it's April.
After or right
After.
now?
After.
Okay.
After.
Okay.
Yeah, I
Further
think
questions, comments? No. So you're moving it. Seconder?
Yeah, I'll second it.
Okay.
somebody.
Good. Further discussion? Yeah, I am going to do a presentation at the end of April at a conference that basically says municipal money should not go towards supporting the healthcare system.
Yeah.
This, to me, is part of economic development.
Yeah.
You lose your schools, you lose your doctors, you lose your community.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm willing to support this. So, call the question. All those in favor? Okay, that passes. Thank you. Can you let them know we're coming back in?
Oh, can I get in?
Yeah. Okay, moving on to item 16, where we passed. Item 16.2, pollinator garden, and there's a report on table. Are there any questions of Mr. Mayor on this? It still sounds like we're still in discussion with Rotary as to location. Okay. No, nothing new.
Oh, I have a question. When did you meet with them?
The day after the last meeting.
Okay, and
Sorry, the day after the last council meeting, and I have not heard back from them.
is there a follow-up meeting planned, or is it on the up to the
I've left
Rotary?
it up to them.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
And only because I haven't had a chance to read the report because it was just on table. So
Moving on is 16.3, cell 2 sludging. There is a staff report. This is the big chunk of your file today. Okay. Mr. Carmichael, do you wish to speak on this one?
I can give you a summary.
The summary would be great. Let's talk about poo.
So this is the second phase of this project, which involves the actual desludging. So the first phase was changing out the aerators. The ones that we had installed were fixed to the bottom of the pond, have to be removed in order to do the desludging. When they were doing that portion of the project, they checked the sludge depth in cell 1 as well, and so they've estimated how much sludge is to be removed out of cell 1, and we got a provisional cost to do that is inside this price of $272,000.
So how much life, we're adding lifespan to these. If we don't do this, we're basically
Right, so
shortening the lifespan of these facilities. They don't function quite as well, etc. Yeah.
yeah, it's typically a 20-year
Okay.
cycle.
It's annual operating maintenance type stuff that we should be doing on a regularly basis. How often should we be doing this at?
I think we should be putting money aside to do this every 20 years. But
Okay. Okay. Any questions on this? 20 years. Yeah, I think if we were elsewhere, it would be much more. So there's a lot of paper there. Anyways,
So I had asked our engineers to do an estimate for the final piece, which is the trucking. And
okay.
it looks like we should be well under the budget.
I believe that goes to Heffley Creek, the solids, or does it go some?
I think it's going to go to Pemberton as part of a reclamation project.
Oh, okay.
Find out.
Yeah, over the hill. Excellent.
Pemberton.
Question, Councillor Sem.
So just to confirm that
One of those.
so to confirm for option number 1, with the $272,000, almost $273,000, that still keeps the project within budget.
It does, yes.
I'd like to move the option 1.
Thank you. Seconder on this?
I'll second that.
Thank you, Councillor McKenzie. Any further thoughts or discussions? All those in favor? Thank you. Thank you for the excellent report. And let's move this stuff. Yeah. I dealt with a lot of things in my park career. This is pretty minor. And 16.4, a verbal update on road maintenance results. Mr. Carmichael.
Road maintenance.
So, there's been questions around town. I believe at one point we actually had snow forecast for this week. I don't know if we still do, but there's a lot of questions about street sweeping, other things that are going on. So,
Gotcha. So I've been working with Stephanie on a communications plan, and it's going out in the newsletter, kind of timelines for everything. But we're going to start doing some Facebook posts as well to let people know what's happening. But to give you guys an update, the sweeping of the trails has started, and we had a breakdown on the sweeper unit attached to the tool cap. So we'll continue that as soon as we get the bearing replaced. I've arranged for mechanical sweeping of the streets in May. So it's unfortunate it takes longer to get it done. The way we're doing it before, all the sand gets swept into the ditch, and then we have to eventually clean out the ditches. So we're going to try this year and see how well it goes, and hopefully we can get it done sooner in the future than May. But so we're scheduled for May for now, and paint is scheduled for June 1st.
Oh, this is very good news.
questions? Councillor Bratton?
The scheduling for May, is it because that's a typical time frame, or is it because they weren't available, or this machine, there's only one, or what?
Yeah, no, companies they're all busy. I think there's a shortage of sweepers, and they're in Kelowna sweeping right now, the company.
Okay.
So this kind of sweeper collects the sand and deposits it somewhere versus kicking it off the side of the road.
Correct.
I also note in pretty much every report we've had on the conditions of our roads that the buildup of dirt on the sides of the roads is causing problems with the breakup of the road surface because it retains moisture. It doesn't allow it to drain off or drain out under. So beyond the ditches, I think one of the suggestions in the past is that we also start cleaning up some of the built-up material that's on the side of the roads.
Yes.
We have to do that at some point. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct. That's
Okay. Yeah, it diminishes the lifespan of our roads considerably, especially if they start to crack and things like that. That's my understanding of things. Councillor Bratton?
I don't know if I can ask this here. Doing the no man's land piece of road going to the Eco Depot. Not cleaning it, grading it.
It was today. It's fresh.
Yeah. So, who
Responsible for that?
I know that it's like crazy, but can I ask who are we doing it currently?
no, we're not.
Okay.
I think it's forestry. That's right.
Okay.
But it is a long conversation. It's a conversation that we need to have about at some point having that section paved by somebody, re-engineered because it's not well built, to the best of my guess on that section of road, but also brought to a higher standard because people are driving there. I mean, it's silly that we have that one stretch.
Yeah,
there.
and it's a community.
Maybe we'll
stretch
ask
still,
Trans
so.
Mountain, but anyways. Okay, thank you. No further comments or questions. Move on to item seven. Oh, sorry. Councillor.
Yeah, and just on the road maintenance, I don't know if we had a confirmed update on when the new contract was going to be going out to tender.
Okay, I was directed to do a service level review.
Okay.
So I've been working with a consultant, and he sent me his feedback, and I've had questions that I've forwarded off to our lawyer just to see how sound they are, and I will have an update for you guys at the next council meeting. We bring it.
Okay, so to clarify, so the service level review will also look at all of our roads and some of the classifications from them?
No, this will be if you want changes to the road maintenance contract that we're going to.
I see. Okay,
advertise
thank you.
in.
Things like clearing of driveways, etc. Assume.
On the street.
Okay. Okay, thank you for that. Moving on to item 17.1, there is the second and third reading of the 2024 to 2028 financial plan bylaw. And there's Ms. Klassen, you want to speak to this at all?
Yes, just one second.
Pardon me, I didn't. Is that for me? I didn't hear that.
It's financial plan bylaw. Here we
Just
go.
wait for the presentation to load.
There we
Oh,
go.
there it is. All right. Okay. So the purpose today of the presentation is to bring forward the financial plan bylaw for 2024 to 2028. And it's just a short presentation. Council has seen a lot of the details of the financial plan. We are looking for 3 readings today. We're going to introduce the financial plan bylaw and looking for a third reading, or second and third reading. The council has gone through several stages. We've gone through business case stages, service level changes, a project plan, operations plan. We've adopted the sewer and water use bylaw. We've also done the permissive tax exemptions. We've looked at the grant and aid applications. We've had a public engagement. We've had consolidation of the financial plan. And finally, we are at the star level there where we're bringing it all together at the financial plan bylaw. And next week, we'll bring together the property tax bylaw. The legislation says that we need to adopt the financial plan bylaw prior to the property tax bylaw, and that's why we're bringing it forward today. And it needs to all be adopted prior to May 15th. Since the last time we met, there was one change provided to council. We allocated an additional $50,000 to the roads reserve for a total of $300,000 allocated to the reserve in 2024. The estimated balance at the end of 2024 will be $676,000. Staff also reviewed current carry forward project as part of our year-end preparation for the audit, and there were small adjustments made to several projects. However, they were all grant related, so the total was less $20,000. So it's not a substantial change, and it was all grant funded, no impact to taxation. Just some highlights, and we've seen this before, but just to reiterate it, capital projects are about $6.2 million. Of those capital projects, 69% of those are funded by grants. $3.5 million is one big project for the abutments of the bridge over here, and and it's grant funded. Special project is $1.7 million. Net impact to reserves and surplus is a decrease of $2.4 million. Many of those projects are, or some of them are going to be funded by reserves. Debt payment is only $65,000. We have very small amount of debt. And we have a non-market change in utilities which contributes to the tax burden. So in your financial plan bylaw, we also have a Schedule B, and in Schedule B, we talk about the general policies and objectives, the funding sources, the distribution of property taxes, tax exemption. And I just wanted to go over some of the policies and objectives that council has in the financial plan bylaw. They have about 6 policies and objectives: diversifying key economic sectors and foster growth for expanding the generation of revenue. Encouraging and maintaining economic development initiative designed to retain and attract commercial and industrial businesses in the community and increase the tax base. This budget, when we've looked at it, we have an economic refresh program in this budget, and council has recommended to adjust the tax ratio to be consistent year over year. Distribution of property taxes should be consistent year over year, except for the effect of new growth. And the distribution of property taxes are consistent year over year, reasonably consistent. I'm going to demonstrate that in the next slide. We continue to implement projects outlined in the DOC District Water Infrastructure Master Plan, and we have several of those projects in the master plan. Borrowing should be used on a limited basis for a large infrastructure basis. We have no borrowing scheduled for 2024. However, I have scheduled borrowing for 2025, and when those projects are ready, we will bring that forward to council. Objective is also, the last objective is to identify required projects in advance. And staff is preparing engineering class B estimates to improve our grant applications for that. The Schedule B also identifies funding sources. We have to have a balanced budget, and we work at maintaining and building reserves. It has a distribution of property taxes. The distribution should be consistent if possible, except when considering market change, such as in the utility class this year. And then it also identifies the permissive tax exemptions for 2024, and it is about $55,000 for municipal property tax portion. And here we can demonstrate, it's a little bit small, but however, the blue is a 2024 ratios in dollars, and the green is 2023. You can see that we've reduced the ratio from 3.9 to 3.1 to not have such a large hit for the business owners, and for the residential owners is about consistent. In 2023, residential owners paid about 51%. In 2024, they're paying about 48%. The average single-family home will see an increase of approximately 5%. It can be $66 a day or $5.50 a month. Assessments, remember, assessments fell for every average single-family home. Strata families or strata homes actually increase, so they might see something different. Please keep in mind that assessments vary quite a bit from neighbor to neighbor and type to type, and these are strictly averages. And next steps. Today we're looking at the financial plan bylaw. On April 16th, we'll look at the tax rate bylaw and look for the adoption. Following that, we'll do legislative reporting. We'll produce the notices and reports and communication plan. And you'll see there's the red dot, a red square. We haven't seen that before, but this is our Questica full implementation. It has been going for a while, and Andrea has our present it to council soon, but we're working on integrating it with Maze and rolling over to a new budget process. And finally, these are the resolutions we're looking for today. If council has any questions,
Questions? So I'm just gonna start because they're looking. So on the average home for Clearwater, that's $66 a year tax increase this year over last year's, and $550 a month. Just to absolutely clarify that. So that's actually, those are great numbers. Thank you. That's the kind of thing that we can communicate out very easily on average. And then, yeah, definitely noted the utilities change there. See how much of a difference that makes. Further questions or comments? Councillor Sim?
So just looking at the 5-year plan on page 120 of the agenda. So as we go forward, we're looking at 2026 to have, and 2027 and 2028 to have a bit of a dip, but probably with some of those other larger projects. That's why we'll be looking at some of those borrowing and how to start making some more strategic investments. Is that correct?
in 2020, are you looking at the, what are you?
So I'm looking at Schedule A, revenues, and then expenditures.
Also related to uncertainty on grants that we'd be getting?
Well, yeah, so in Schedule A, when you're looking at the municipal taxation rate, in 25 and 26, I've kind of kept it consistent at around 4%, and 27 and 28, I've kept it at 2%, just trying to keep things as consistent as possible. As you get closer and closer, it's harder to predict the future and the inflation rates. But you will notice that I have borrowing proceeds in 2025 of $3.8 million, and that is related to the Strawberry Flats PRV valve, and I believe it's the reservoir, where that's probably the maximum we could afford to borrow for the water customers and the sewer customers, or it's just water customers. So we'll have to look at those carefully and do the engineering to ensure that those are the, if we want to go ahead with borrowing, we move forward pretty quickly with those. It might be pushed ahead to 2026, if we can't get the engineering done and solidify that project.
Yeah, and I think that one of the other considerations that's a part of this budget is that council has really heard from the community about wanting to make sure that we're putting money away for roads and starting just a real community adjustment about how we need to look to the future. Mm-hmm. Do we, and maybe this is an opportunity for Mr. Carmichael, where are we at with our infrastructure master plan, or are these types of things that need to be considered? Because I think we all would like to start budgeting sooner than later, and get it done easier. Where are we at with that?
Councillor Sim, through Mayor. I've been working on a business case to put a capital plan together using our engineers to, where they come out with a machine that inspects all the roads, and we can put all the roads into priority, and then we can find out which ones have utilities under them, and then we can come up with a plan for at least 5 years, probably 10 years of projects.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah, we haven't had that depth of analysis before. We've had surveys, but not, so that sounds actually really good. I like that. Okay.
I think that's going to make a big difference in how we plan for the future, so thank you for that.
Any further questions? If not, can I get movers and seconders on one, or first half? Moving for the first and second time, seconder. Councillor Bratton, District of Clearwater, 2024 to 2028 5-year financial plan, bylaw number 299/2024, a bylaw to adopt the 2024 to 2028 5-year financial plan. Whereas Section 165 of the Community Charter requires that the council shall adopt a 5-year financial plan. Now, therefore, the Council of the District of Clearwater, in an open meeting, assembles and acts as follows. This bylaw may be cited as the District of Clearwater bylaw number 299/2024, 2024 to 2028 5-year financial plan. Discussion. None. All those in favor? That passes. And then the second motion, council, third reading, moved by Councillor Frizzle, seconded by Councillor Bratton. District of Clearwater 2024 to 2028 5-year financial plan, bylaw number 299, 2024. A bylaw to adopt the 2024 to 2028 5-year financial plan. Whereas section 165 of the community charter requires that council shall adopt a 5-year financial plan. Therefore, the council of the District of Clearwater in open meeting assembles as enacts as follows. This bylaw may be cited as District of Clearwater bylaw number 299, 2024 to 2024 to 2028 5-year financial plan. All those in favor? And that passes. Thank you for the excellent work on that. The clarity of financial planning and 5-year plans and budget has been awesome the last couple of years. Breaks it down into a way that a guy that did this with a calculator and a Word Excel spreadsheet for a business can understand. Much appreciated. Thank you for that. There is no correspondence response required. There are a couple of letters, Minister of Agriculture and Food letter and BC Interior Community Foundation letter. If you're not familiar with the second one, I met with, I think it's Wenda Noonan a couple months ago, randomly. BC Interior Community Foundation is similar to the North Thompson Community Foundation, but covers a much larger area. And they actually have a grant or an endowment that actually is for use in Clearwater for just a couple $1,000s. Then you can see the net income on the second page of there is $250 a year. They'd love to find a way to start getting rid of this. They'd also be interested, if you know of any groups that want to do endowments or have them handle funds. They are a large group, have been around for a while and actually handle a lot of funds for groups like the paper that went under in Kamloops, the first big paper, the fundraising for the run and that sort of thing. When the paper closed, they took on the funds, multi-millions of dollars for those kind of funds, and then they handled the disbursement and the administration of those funds. So, any thoughts or comments on either of those? If not, moving over to the next page, we have a notice of motion. Ooh, community cleanup. Councillor Bratton. You just read it, and I don't think we make a decision on it today, so.
Okay. It's a notice of motion. So whereas the community pitch-in cleanup event happens every year to coincide with Earth Day, and whereas the roadside cleanup generates community involvement and town pride, Clearwater Pitch-in is declared April 20th, 2024 at 11 a.m. I hope that time works. We can adjust that if we need to. At the North Thompson Sportsplex, now therefore it be resolved that the District of Clearwater Council allocates $200 from council contingency for supplies, snacks for the volunteers.
And I thought I saw a mic going on over there. Is there any comment or question? Yeah.
Yes, Your Worship. And this is just to clarify, this can be introduced here and voted on at the next meeting unless all members of council present currently waive that requirement and vote on it now.
So, would all members of council here like to waive that and vote to allocate the $200 today? Seeing Mr. Yes, me, yes. Councillor Sim, are you yes on doing that? Okay, so can I get a motion to allocate $200 from council contingency for supplies and snacks for volunteers? Moved by Councillor Bratton, seconded by Councillor Herring. All those in favor, and that passes. Thank you. Now we don't have to bring it back. The other one was dealt with in the grant and aid section. Comments from the public. Hello, Annabelle. Do you have any questions or comments today? Yep.
I'm sick and tired of roosters. And I'm sure your mom is too.
Did you notice that there's a for sale sign on probably the offending property?
Well, the defending property has no for sale sign.
Oh,
Across from
okay.
me.
Okay.
If I don't want to set my alarm for 5:30 in the morning getting up,
Yeah.
I don't have to. I'm tired of it. I'm
Yep.
sorry, I'm tired of it.
Yeah.
I know, Bob, my neighbor, was talking to Beth yesterday. Maverick was out, they were talking, Maverick went into the
Oh,
house.
can I just stop? I don't think we should be talking about.
No, yeah, I think,
Annabelle,
yeah,
we gotta
I think
take that
you
offline.
think you need to take this to me and to, Fire Chief / bylaw enforcement, Smith, and we'll do that after this meeting.
They're zoned for chickens and roosters and whatever.
Yeah, we'll take that discussion online. We can't be mentioning members of the public. Yeah, no problem. Okay, if there's nothing further.
I have one more.
Oh, you do, sorry.
Yeah,
right.
I just want to thank Jenna for doing just a good job on putting together the agenda. With Sid being out, we're glad to see you back, but you did a really wonderful job, and I just want to thank you for that, especially on a long weekend.
Welcome to learning chaos. Thank you. We do have a need to move into in camera. That there's a recommendation that the meeting be closed to the public pursuant to sections 91 and community charter and discussion matters relating to personal information about an identifiable individual who holds or is being considered for a position as an officer, employee, or agent of the municipality or another position appointed by the municipality. And K, and you're going to have to refresh me on K. Somebody.
K is about a potential service that's delivered to the District of Clearwater through a contractor in its early stages.
Okay, thank you. Can I move her and second her on that?
Moved.
Moved by Councillor Matheson, or McKenzie, seconded by Councillor Bratton. All those in favor, and we will take at least a 5-minute recess. We're doing good here. Let's call it 3:25, please. Thank you. 10-minute recess.
Yep. So go.